They're using the tape. Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. I'm positive.
That was the
I made it, Dad. Look at the way that it's done it. Look at the ending.
No. Tape.
No, it's not. Look at the ending. See? See?
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of Issues in Safety. I'm your host and producer, Joe FitzPatrick. On a very solemn 10th anniversary of 9/11. 9/11 for New York City, for Washington, D.C., and for Pennsylvania. I have my co-host, who's been with me, how many years?
Going on 8?
8 years.
Right?
Colleen.
Something like that?
Colleen, thank you for coming on, and you've always been on. Theo.
Oh, good to see you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. There's just so many issues that we have to talk about. So many reflections. Today was just such a bad day. I have a great audience here tonight. I have Stef, I have Danny, I have Mike, I have John Rogers, I have Nancy Rogers. I have all these people that came out to support me, because you know what? I don't think I could get through the show tonight here by myself. Today was a bad day.
Well, that's what I think 9/11 taught us, is how to support each other, as individuals and as a nation.
Right. Exactly. You know, I knew at least 35 guys that either directly, that I knew them. One of them was one of my brobies, and I broke them in. Some of them were guys that I knew, worked with, or they were sons, brothers, fathers of somebody I knew. I've been to so many funerals, and I go home at night, and you know, I love the bagpipes. And can we get the bagpipes going? Huh? We're not going to do it. Okay. And you know, I'd be laying in bed at night, and I'd wake up hearing the bagpipes.
It's haunting.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You know, we're all brothers. Okay, I got a lot of facts and figures I'm going to read. Let me read this first. Okay, 7:59 on 9/11/2001. Mohammed Abba. You know, if his name is right or wrong, I don't know. I don't care. He doesn't belong in this country anyway. Who the hell cares? He boards an American Airlines flight number 11 at 8:18. American Airlines flight 11 is taken over by Mohammed Abba. 8:46 a.m. Whatever. You know, if you can't pronounce the name, he doesn't belong in our country. Flight 11 crashes into the World Trade Center North Tower between the 93rd and 99th floors. 9:03 a.m. United Airlines Flight 175. And Colleen, you know 175 has a special meaning to me for FDNY. That I worked on ladder 175. A tiller ladder company by itself in the city, which was something. So that has mixed emotions, that number. That crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center between the 77th and 85th floor. 9:37 a.m. American Airlines flight crashes into the Pentagon. 9:59 a.m. World Trade Center South Tower collapses. And the South Tower was the second one that got hit. But, you know, because they hit at a lower floor, at the 77th floor versus the 93rd floor, it brought it down. And, you know, for the past 2 days, I was watching, I was taping, or I wasn't taping when I had Colleen taping for me.
6 o'clock this morning.
6 o'clock this morning, Colleen, get up, I need you to tape.
I'm not gonna go there.
Okay. But, there was one of the marshals, and he says, this building is all steel. There's no way in hell it's going to collapse. It's not going to happen.
Never say never.
Exactly, yeah. You know, and, okay, Tommy Von Essen, who was the fire commissioner, and here's this book right here. And if you remember, he was a guest on my show back in, I think 2005. He came on here and we did a special, and he came all the way up here from New York City, and he did an hour and a half special with me, and he talked all about 9/11. I said, Tommy, what do you want to talk about? What don't you want to talk about? He said, Joe, I'll talk about anything, and he did. And he even said, I don't think the building's going to collapse. And this morning, this was Colleen with Rudy Giuliani. They were saying, you know, Rudy says, I need the police to get everybody the hell out of here. Anybody that's above the fire is not going to get out. Anybody below the fire, we are going to get out. Well, evidently it didn't happen either way.
No.
And he was talking to Pete Gansey, Chief of Department, FDNY, and 15 minutes later, Pete Gansey died in the line of duty. You know, so tragic. Okay, I don't even know where I was. Okay, 9:59, the World Trade Center, I read that, okay. 10:03, United Airlines Flight 93 crashes into a field at Shakersville, Pennsylvania, after being taken over by 40 passengers aboard. And they were great. They said, let's roll. They knew they were going to die. They knew that this plane was going either for the White House or the Capitol. They knew they were goners anyway. They went after these. I can't even say. And they went in there, and they took them down, and it crashed. You know how many lives they saved? You know, maybe a few of these politicians might have needed to be taken out, but, you know, that's...
Still life saved.
Right, Danny, that's another show that I'll have you on for. But, you know, but we saved the Capitol, we saved the White House, Black House, whatever the heck you want to call it. Okay, 10:28 a.m. World Trade Center North Tower collapsed. Okay, 2,983 people died in the terrorist attacks in the 4 events that day. 343 FDNY firefighters died. 1 New York City fire patrolman, Keith Roman, died. His father was a fire patrolman, he was a PD, and he was an FDNY member. And he's very big involved now in memorial for them, and I'm working with them. 23 New York City Police Department members died. 43 Port Authority members died. You know, we lost almost 3,000 people.
And
but
one dog. One
yeah,
dog.
right.
Serious.
Okay. All right.
Leave it to me, right? He was the only canine. He was the bomb-sniffing dog that they had on duty. And his handler, David Lim, put him in his crate when he heard the crash and said, I'll be back for you. And he never made it back for the dog. Unfortunately, he died in the collapse, but his handler did successfully rescue many people and even carried someone down the stairway to get them to safety. They would not allow him to go back to get the dog. When they did pull him from the wreckage, they determined not only did he die immediately upon the collapse, but the same treatment that they afforded every human that they pulled out of there, to stop the machinery, moment of silence, the whole bit. They took him out in the bag with the flag draped over his body as well. So he too was a victim and considered to many a hero.
Right, okay. Now, he was in the crate in the car.
He was in the basement. The kennel area was in the basement.
Okay.
So when his handler
Tower
left
1 or Tower 2?
to go upstairs, I believe it was 1.
Okay.
When his handler left to go investigate, because it was the first plane that hit,
Right.
he heard the crash and he had to go upstairs and see what happened, and he kenneled him to keep him safe, and he was never able to get back. He did die in the collapse.
Line of duty.
Line of duty.
Definitely line
But they
of duty.
gave him the same treatment when they pulled him out, which you know,
Right,
is
yeah.
telling that he was a 4-year-old yellow lab and his name was Sirius.
Rest in peace.
Just adding to your statistics. Leave it to me.
Nothing I want to hear, but you know, I'm glad to hear, and you know, we need to broadcast it.
Yeah. And there were over 100 search and rescue teams with dogs. And I think Stef sent me something today that said there's like 10 that are still alive today, which 10 years later is pretty awesome. A lot of dogs have died, and some of them had the same fate as their handlers and all of the heroes that were in the rubble and the wreckage, and cancer and breathing problems and all that. They suffered the same illnesses and after effects.
Yeah, considering that, like, since that happened, okay, what did I say? 2,983 people died. Like, okay, pretty close to, okay, 400 were fire, police, Port Authority. But since then, 800 police, fire have died. And, you know, they went down there and they were digging and digging and digging. And they says that it wasn't cancerous.
No.
Yeah.
Masks or no masks, that stuff is going to get to you. I mean, my grandmother lived very near to that, and she told of the dust that just covered her air conditioner in the window and her clotheslines, and, you know, imagine being right on top of that and breathing it in.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you said you were from
Greenwich Village.
Greenwich Village. Okay.
Yeah. Firehouse right on the corner of Grandma Street.
Which firehouse?
I don't know the number, I have to be honest.
What street?
6th Avenue in Houston.
I will look that up.
Yep.
You don't know?
That's Manhattan. I know the B's. The Bronx. The Bronx.
The Bronx.
The Bronx.
The
Yeah.
Bronx.
Okay, there's 2 places. The Bronx and the Vatican.
Yeah.
And then Brooklyn. Yeah, you know, I always hated working in Manhattan. You know, give me the Bronx, give me Brooklyn. I always liked working there.
You prefer the boroughs?
Yeah. You just can't get anywhere, you know, even drive it. Okay. One morning, okay, I'll give you a good story. It was like 7:30 in the morning, and we got a call. We were a special call, and we were on the Brooklyn side of the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was a multiple alarm fire in Chinatown. So like 7:30, we're going over. I'm the driver. We're going over, and the streets are so narrow. Driving up, you know, sirens, air horns, everything else, and this little, I won't even say, starts pulling up. Boom. After I went by him, he didn't have a door on his car.
Oops.
We got to the fire though.
I bet you did. I bet you did. Well, part of the reason why you probably don't like that section is that Greenwich Village is the only area that's not the grid.
I just don't like Manhattan. Yeah, it takes forever to get any place.
I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah. You know, and everybody says, well, use mass transit. I don't believe in mass transit.
Oh, no. I'll drive myself, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the way I am too. Yeah, yeah. yeah.
I've started driving in the city since I was 16. I'll never stop.
Yeah, right. Okay, you know, and like anytime I had to go any place, okay, and you probably don't even remember this, Kyle. You, me, and Mommy, we went to the top of the Empire State Building one day. Like
that tells you she doesn't remember,
yeah,
really.
It was like,
I mean, I was probably like a baby.
yeah, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We went down there, and I said, "No, I'm driving." Everybody saying, "You're gonna drive to Midtown?" I said, "No, I'm gonna go to the nearest firehouse." I pull up. Here's my bag. Boom. Okay, yeah, pull in the parking lot. Boom, walk over. You know.
It's an advantage.
Yeah, right, yeah. If I couldn't do it, okay. I'll say something else.
Is this the hydrant story?
Yeah, this is the hydrant
Yeah, I like
story.
this.
Yeah,
I heard this one. Sneaky.
Hydrants get knocked over in New York City, left and right. And they're just laying around all over the place. And we lived in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And in Bay Ridge, we could see the Guinea Gangplank, which is the Verrazano Bridge. And we were also able to see the World Trade Center. And I also had a part-time job working at a funeral home. And back then, the wakes were 2 to 5 and 7 to 10. And everybody smoked. And it was an Irish funeral home, so everybody drank. So by the time you got out of there, it was like 11 o'clock at night. And when I got home, there was no place to park my car. So, you know, just found the fire hydrant, threw it in the back of my car, and in the morning when I left, I take the hydrant, put it in front of the place, so everybody said, okay, well, it's a fire hydrant.
No parking.
You can't park there. At night when I came back, I pulled in front of there, took the hydrant, threw it in the back of my car. Now it was a legal parking space. So I had a way cool.
Only Joe.
No, a bunch of firemen in Harlem.
Ingenious.
A bunch of firemen in Harlem taught me that story. Ingenious, yeah. And the hydrant.
I mean, in New York, you have to do what you have to do to get a parking space, no matter where you are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that works. If you ever want to go down there, I got a New York hydrant for you.
I'll remember that.
What a shock.
Did any of our neighbors ever wonder about the necessary hydrant?
They were too stupid. Well, no, actually they weren't. It was an Irish neighborhood.
Why
So,
do I try to have a conversation?
no, actually they weren't. It was an Irish neighborhood, so they couldn't.
So, did they?